The 60-degree double strip ruler was created by Rachel Cross to make it possible to cut triangles and other shapes from 2.5-inch strips that were sewn together to make a 4.5-inch wide strip. This one cuts 60-degree triangles. This one cuts 45-degree triangles, 90-degree triangles, and 45-degree kaleidoscope shapes. When I am using this ruler, I can use the bottom straight edge to cut 2.5-inch strips out of the fabric and piece them together into one unit. Once I have sewn that seam, I can place it on my cutting board, and I place the ruler so the dashed line on the triangle is placed on the seam line of the fabric. Then I take a rotary cutter and I cut along the edges of the ruler. In this case, there are 3 triangles out of the plexiglass, and out of these opening inside I will get 2 more, so every time I move the ruler I will get 5 60-degree triangles. When I sew those triangles together, you sew a half at a time, so you sew 3 together and then seam them down the middle, and you get a hexagon that looks like this. This one was created by sewing 2 2.5-inch strips together, but I can use the same ruler, and if I cut the 60-degree triangle out of a simple 4.5-inch strip, I can create a hexagon that looks like this. If I sew 2 1.5-inch strips together in a 2.5-inch strip, like this, instead of just doing 2 2.5-inch strips together, I'm going to get a block that looks like this. And if I sew 4 1.5-inch strips together and then piece them into my block, I'm going to end up with a block that looks like this. So you can see all of the design possibilities that you can create simply by adjusting the size of the strips that you sew together so that they all end up being a 4.5-inch wide strip of fabric before you cut the strips. Another thing I can do with this ruler is I can take and sew 2 2.5-inch strips together and then sew them to each other so that it creates a tube. When I have this tube and I place the ruler on top of it, again, I'm going to match the dashed line to the seam. And rotary cut along the straight edges of the ruler. The ruler does have the gripper dots, so it stays in place when you are cutting with the ruler. And the gripper dots are very prevalent on the triangles, so they do not move when you are making these cuts. And again, I will end up with 5 equilateral triangles. They each have a little bit of stitching at the top, so I just need to pick that out a little bit, which pulls apart very easily, and I will create diamonds with stripes. I can create these diamonds with the same amount of stripes that I did for the other blocks just by incorporating 4.5, 1.5, and 2.5-inch strips in the blocks in any combination.